Welcome to Channel World Story 22, a channel that always presents historical news from countries in the world. On this occasion, Channel World Story 22 will discuss the sad story of a woman who was a former comfort woman during the Japanese colonial period. So many women were made as a gratification of the Japanese soldiers during the colonial period. Then what about the fate of the women who were made comfort women by the Japanese soldiers? Before continuing to the discussion, I ask for your support by liking, commenting, subscribing, and sharing, so that this channel can grow. The Japanese colonial period in Indonesia has left many deep sorrows until now. The occupation, which lasted for 3.5 years, was so miserable for the Indonesian people. All the people, even the Indonesian state, were greatly harmed by the Japanese occupation. Japan has established many policies, not only to mobilize male potential, but women also play a role. The Japanese government mobilizes women's potential not only in formal interests like Fujinkai, but for other interests such as meeting biological needs. Many Indonesian women are victims of Japanese policies, one of which is the comfort women. If interpreted literally, the term Jugun Ianfu becomes Ju equals join, Gun means military army, while Ian equals entertainer, and Fu equals woman, thus the whole meaning is, comfort woman who joins the military. Thus Jugun Ianfu were women who were forcibly kidnapped and made into sex slaves by Japanese military soldiers who were placed in military barracks or buildings built around Japanese military headquarters during the Asia-Pacific War. So the role of women here was to satisfy the sexual needs of Japanese soldiers in Indonesia and also in other Japanese colonial countries during the 1942-1945 period. At that time, through this policy, Japan had recruited women from the village by force with various violence or threats. Not only that, the Japanese also gave promises such as being employed as teachers or nurses, but in fact they were used as comfort women for the Japanese soldiers. The women are forced to do such indecent work because of their weak position, but they need jobs to support themselves and their families. And most of them have low education, even uneducated and illiterate. So that they are trapped in ignorance and poverty, which makes them blindly believe in the job offers made by Japan. The recruitment of women Jugun Ianfu was assisted by several regional officials such as Tonarigumi, Rukun Tetangga, Lura and sub-district head. These officials offer and force women, both girls, or those who are married and have children, to agree to follow this policy. Japan has established special places for comfort women in every military command area with the aim of preventing Japanese soldiers from raping local residents, maintaining the morale of Japanese soldiers, and preventing venereal diseases that would weaken its military strength. Jugun Ianfu women are put into Japanese brothels, Ianjo. Every woman at Ianjo gets a room with her own number, and her name is replaced with a Japanese name on the room door, Mawati Jind, 2008. 68-69. One example of a former comfort woman is Mardiem from Yogyakarta. He had experienced forced sex when he was only 13 years old. At that time, at a young age, he lost his honor, was humiliated, and his future was destroyed. He had wanted to end his life, but with the advice of his father he did not do this. Until finally he lived life steadfastly and tried to endure life's suffering as hard as he could. He not only experienced sexual violence, but also physically, as was done by Chakada, manager of Ianfu in Tilawang, by beating and kicking him many times. Torture in the form of slaps, punches and kicks was carried out by Japanese soldiers when they were drunk. In fact, not only that, they can treat the Jugun Ianfu women like animals. The impact of the cruel behavior of the Japanese soldiers made the Jugun Ianfu experience physical and psychological disabilities due to sexual trauma. Until the Jugun Ianfu women can only surrender to live the suffering. They don't even have the chance to escape, because the distance to the trip home is quite far, they don't know their way because of their limited knowledge, and they don't have the money to travel. So suffered the ancient women who were always humiliated by the dignity. Even though women are so noble, they are made into sex slaves. We women who live in modern times must be smart to maintain our honor and be grateful for the emancipation of women. That is the sad story of a Jugun Ianfu woman who goes through life with various sufferings, both physical and psychological.